What is going on, guys?
Oh, we're back.
Episode 6.
Oh,
Worship
is it 6?
Production Podcast.
Wow.
It is
We are
already.
We're
Hold on.
in.
We're in this thing.
Yeah.
We're in deep. No turning back now.
No turning back.
Oh no.
Write a song about it. Wow, I am wiped out. How are you feeling, Taylor?
I am exhausted.
Yes. We are both in the middle of the Easter celebration production here at CLA, Christian Life Assembly. It's been a blast putting it together.
Yes. So
Months
much fun.
in the making.
So much fun.
And we're finally in the middle of it,
Mm-hmm.
which gives us really good content for today.
Yes.
Because we're going to just debrief, talk about it.
Dive in deep.
Yeah, 2 hours of a production. There's a lot to discuss.
There's a lot going on. Yep.
Yes.
A lot of preparation.
Yeah, but wow, I can't believe that we're actually in the middle of it. I'm literally wearing like a face of makeup
No,
we
he
just
is. He looks very cute.
we finished a production just like a little bit ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we got 3 shows this weekend, 4 next weekend.
Yeah.
And just praying God's impact through it.
Oh yeah.
But it's been great. How are you feeling, Tanner?
Feeling tired. So I am the lighting guy for the show this year.
Lighting guy.
I know, it's super cool. It really is. It's a cool opportunity. I have been a part of every production at CLA since 2016, doing lighting. And this past year at Christmas, I got to help, program and run the show with Ryan. And this year, his wife had a baby, so I have the full reins, which is really, really cool.
Wow.
So program the show with the aid of Ryan, of course. Obviously, we did the programming together. But then I'm been running the whole thing by myself. So super cool opportunity. It's a lot of fun, and I'm definitely enjoying myself. But man, Tech Week was this week was Tech Week, right?
Yep.
Dude, I'm like, I don't even remember.
It's all running
anymore.
together. It's a lot.
So, Monday was 9 to about 11:30 at night, like 9 a.m. And then also this week we did a youth center lighting install,
Right.
which looks fantastic.
Yo, there's so much to talk about.
I know
this
there really
week.
is, and I've been waiting for this install because I've been running tech in youth for the last 9 or 10 years. I've been running the tech stuff in the youth building, so. Like, I've been wanting a new lighting system in there for such a long time.
The day's here and you're moving.
And it finally happened, so we're good. It's up, and it looks killer.
Yes.
But I did that on Tuesday and Wednesday. Then played worship for youth on Wednesday. Then bounced over to tech rehearsal again on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then Thursday and Friday were just full days at work. And then back here for tech rehearsal on Thursday and a show on Friday. So, pulling like 12, 14-hour days every day. And it's just, man.
This is the stuff people don't see so that they can attend a show,
This is it's the preparation behind it. And like, while this week is long, like Quinn, what's your role in the show this year?
So I'm an actor, to say the least. I do 6 different roles. I'm a townsperson. I'm a Roman soldier.
He does a fantastic job, by the way, guys. It's so impressive.
Yeah, I'm a Roman soldier, the groom at the wedding in Cana.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you, yeah. I've married this girl about 8 times now, and we pretty much separate our ways after that scene and never talk again.
Man, so it's
I joined the Roman army, and
you just join the army to spear.
Yeah, but it's been just really a blast, but also tiring. Very, very exhausting to just Tech Week for actors is just as hard on our bodies because we're dancing, we're jamming out, and really giving every ounce of energy we have to get through it.
Yeah.
But it's been since Monday we just started in the costumes. That was the first day with costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Then by Wednesday we had the lighting. Then by Thursday we had the special effects and full makeup. And
pictures. Pictures was
pictures
Thursday, right?
were happening.
Yep.
And it was it all came really quick and it just tied together. So it was a blast putting it together, and now we get to talk and debrief about wow, we're here.
I know.
We're in the middle of it.
We're right in the middle of it.
We got the lighting, we got the special effects, we got everything.
Mm-hmm.
So the first question I have for you, Tanner,
go.
as the lighting guy, I wanted to ask you, how do you interact with the rest of the sound booth, and
Mm.
how does that all play up there? Because I don't get to be up there during something like this. I've never had the opportunity.
Right. Yeah. So basically, the one who writes the show is Pastor Dan, and he's like in charge of everything. So
Lead director.
Pastor Dan and I run the show. So
Mhm.
Dan's sitting right next to me, and me and him communicate for timing for light cues, scene transitions, blackouts, lights up, different things like that. So that's really all the communication I have. Alex sits on the other side of the booth. He triggers audio on his own time, and
so he's not with Pastor Dan. He's not interacting.
no,
with
I
him.
mean, some rarely.
Yeah. Like music cues, stuff like that.
Yeah, but for the most part, he's got those down. Like those
Mm.
he knows exactly when to hit. But some of the lighting stuff is more like design. Like, oh, I want the lights to come up like now. I want like how long. Basically,
Every show is different.
Exactly, and every scene is different. Like how long the blackout should be, and we'll run it differently every single night, just because of how we're feeling. So that's kind of where I rely on Dan's cues for those. But that's really my communication with there. Then we have the video guys that are sitting up in the booth above us, and they're enclosed in glass, so we can't hear them. But they are on our comm system, so they can hear lighting comm.
Yeah.
And we can hear them sometimes, but like not all the time. We have to like turn each other on and stuff.
And we're projecting a picture over the set.
We are
the whole length of the stage.
So there's 100. I guess with curve, it's like probably around 130 feet of cyc, and we project onto the cyc. So lighting fires that. So we have it all set up in ProPresenter, and then through ArtNet, we control ProPresenter.
Oh wow!
And like the lighting console triggers ProPresenter to change slides.
So what is ArtNet?
Cues. So ArtNet is basically it's like a DMX protocol or a control protocol over Cat6.
Oh,
so we run Cat into the ProPresenter Mac Studio, and it runs all that.
It's like a MIDI controller for
software. It's essentially MIDI is what it is. It's more reliable though, or at least that's what we found, that the ArtNet is a little more reliable than that. But
that's awesome. Wow. So that's like interacting with Pastor Dan, and he's kind of working with you to get those lighting exactly where he wants it for the specific audience, because it is like especially I think the place that it's most prevalent is the final ovation. Like people are clapping at the end, and it's like every crowd is different, because it's like how much did they appreciate the show, how much you know what I mean, are they standing, are they sitting, like while they're clapping, and the lights, that's really
like when do we go to blackout basically. So there's 3 scenes. So there's the Hosanna scene at the end of Act 1.
That's where Jesus rides in on the donkey to
going
Jerusalem.
into intermission. Then there's the Ain't No Grave scene, and then the ending scene. All 3 of those, the clapping at the end of the scenes is a big variable. So that's like we wait on when we kind of feel that they're done, then we go to blackout.
Yeah. So if you guys want reference for what we're talking about, which scenes, it'll be on the live stream.
It will.
And they'll archive it too on CLA's site, and you can check it out.
I'd highly recommend going and watching.
100%.
Yeah. So by the time this is released, it'll be out.
Yes,
already.
it will be.
So
yes.
make sure to go over to CLA's website, clacamphill.com, or go to the Facebook or whatever.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Fantastically done this year.
Yes.
Fantastically
all
done.
around production, acting, everything has just come together so well.
Yeah, I'm very impressed.
Yeah, but with that, I wanted to talk about some of those lighting sequences that you got.
Yeah,
because I mean, after all, this is about production, and like I wanted to discuss like how did you come about? Like you said, you worked with Ryan to set up the cues and stuff. So whenever it's not your typical Sunday where people are kind of stationary where they're at, how do you have spotlights, you have a lot more going on than you would on a typical Sunday with a production like this.
So I have a team of spotlights, which is a friend named Damon and Robert. Robert is one of the PKs here. They both do a fantastic job. So not only am I following along with the script, hitting cues, like timing cues that need to be hit at certain lines and stuff like that, certain parts in songs, I'm listening to Dan. I'm also controlling some of the fog,
Mm.
and I'm also controlling lobby lights
Yeah.
and flashing stuff, and then I'm also controlling the spots.
Oh wow.
Not physically, but I'm telling the spot operators, like, all right, stand by Q79, you're going to pick up Veronica, right? Okay, and stand by, go ahead, go pick her up, slow fade here, slow fade out, and then, like, I'm basically just audibly telling the spots what to do as we go through the show. And obviously, they have a spot sheet, so they know where their spots are, and as they get familiar with the show, like, they
don't even need you at that point.
So I ran spot for, like, 6 years, and now I'm running the show. So like I know what it's like.
Started from the bottom now.
I know. I started on spot 4, then I went to spot 2, then spot 1, and I moved my way up in the ranks. But yeah, so like they eventually get to memorize the show, but I still call it out. So that's probably my biggest like communication with people in the booth is technically people in the spot booth.
Yeah,
that's part of the lighting crew. So yep, we light up soloists. Basically for every song, we light up Jesus. You know, whenever it's like a triumphant entry or exit, we typically light Jesus up. But yeah, mainly like soloists, or if there's a couple blackout cues where there's somebody singing during the blackout, so those we pick up. So the whole stage is black except for the one person that we want.
Right.
So
wow, there was something you said in there. I want to rewind. You were talking about directing, and even though they know their stuff, you still call it out.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lesson in that for MDs, for lighting directors, anyone in production, that like even if you know that they know, still say it.
Yeah, communication never hurts.
Yeah. Can't over communicate.
You can't really ever over communicate. Especially not in a context like this. Like, yeah, I know Damon knows that he has to pick up Ephraim at the end of scene 2.
Right.
I'm still going to give him a go.
Yeah, because he might be falling asleep up there and you don't even know it.
You never know.
Whatever,
so, Yeah.
Things happen and people get distracted, and though they know it, it's good to know.
Yeah.
And
always good to just clarify and communicate.
Yeah, that translates to Sunday mornings. That translates. Honestly, that's a real life.
It really is.
It's a lesson for life.
It really is, yeah.
But, yeah, that's really cool that there's so much going on, so much communicating, so many people interacting with each other, that all puts it into this one big thing.
Yeah, there's so many people in the tech. I mean, we've got 3 camera operators, and then people running PTZs. Then we have a tech director that's switching cameras and recording, and Alex doing all the audio, people backstage running audio for the mics.
Right.
And then I've got lighting, Dan's commanding me, and then I got spot operators that were doing stuff, and then it's just it's a lot that goes in.
And then you got stage crew down on the stage.
Stage crew on the stage.
Also interacting with you in some capacity, right?
So they used to be on comms in years past, but we never really communicate with stage crew. They know what they're doing. They just do their thing.
Okay.
So
yeah,
we don't have them on any comms this year.
That's good. Well, yeah, that is a good give and take that you guys have, though. Even when the blackout's out, they're the stage ninjas that get things moved around.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. One thing I wanted to talk about also is the special effects that we have this year.
Yeah.
So we have torches that are lit on fire.
We have fire, strobe lights, and fog.
Yes.
And it was so last night was friends and family night, and Pastor Shane comes out and he's like, just to prepare you guys, the show does include fire, strobe lights, and fog. And he's like, huh, if you didn't know that, that's probably pretty scary. Which the way he said it was just so funny.
It was well delivered.
Special effects this year go so hard.
Oh my gosh, there's so much. Yeah,
they're so good.
So good.
So,
and I think that your inspiration has some hand in that. Like, I think that especially, I mean, there's a couple lighting sequences. One, the angel over the tomb when they're talking to the people who are coming to, clean Jesus.
Yep.
That lighting sequence, insane.
It's so pretty.
So pretty. It's you tell about it.
Yeah, so we have 8 Martin Mac 3s over the deck, 4 upstage, 4 downstage. And so the angel descends down from the catwalk, and the Macs are like pointing kind of down, and as they turn on, they sweep up and just like backlight the angel as he's descending.
It's so good.
And it just looks killer.
And we use fog so much in the show that there's like a haze there already.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
And
pump haze 100%.
Oh, it's
show.
pump. Oh, okay.
The entire show. It pumps just nonstop.
Yeah. So that just adds the effect of you see the straight lines.
You
of
see
it
the beams, and it's so pretty. And then we also spotlight that angel from the front.
Yeah. And he's just glowing.
It's so pretty.
It is.
Like I love that scene.
Yeah, that's a good one. What else is there? Oh, I wanted to talk about Jesus on the cross when he dies and the earthquake begins to rattle.
Yep.
This is the strobes that they warned about.
The strobes. So
they're like 8 times more than they've ever been.
So for years we've been pretty unhappy with how that scene looks, because obviously we do that. It's a crucifixion scene.
Yeah.
Obviously it's going to be a part of the Easter
They
show.
always play O Fortuna.
What's that?
You remember when they used to play O Fortuna, the song like ba, 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 ba,
Oh
ba.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was so funny.
Yes. But this year, we're like, okay, we've been unhappy.
Yes. We addressed it.
Let's hit a home run. We're tired. Let's do this legit. So Spirit bought 6 SGM X5 strobe fixtures, which are basically the LED version of a Martin 3K.
Oh wow.
Like an atomic,
Yeah.
just strobe light. So we bought 6 of those, and we hung 3 of them on the upstage, and then 3 of them in above the apron downstage,
Wow.
all facing in towards the stage. So it's just 6 fixtures,
Right.
and they do such a killer job.
Oh,
They are incredible.
Yes.
So the storm starts, and Jesus has some dialogue with the person on the cross, and then Mary and some other people are shouting down from below. So there's a couple minutes where it's just like every once in a while there's some thunder rolling.
Yeah.
And I've got a little override that I just tap up that just flickers some lightning in every once in a while. So when I hear the big thunder, I just give it a little flicker, and it it tickles me every time. It'll just catch perfectly on the audio, and it's so good. It looks so realistic. It's unbelievable. And then what does Jesus say on the cross? He
says, "It is finished."
It is finished. Yeah. And as soon as he says that, Alex plays the thunder and the full blown,
and it releases.
And it just releases. So not only is it sub heavy, so you feel the thunder, but I mean the cue, it's a complete blackout, and it is just fast strobing. That is the only thing you see is just strobes.
Yes.
It is just
everything goes black.
Everything goes black. And we also have 3 really bright, so they're actually outdoor building wash fixtures, stuff you'd use to light up a building.
Yeah.
And we have 3 of them hung, one above each cross, and it just super tight beams right on the people on the cross, which is how you get that drained look from the top.
Yeah,
down.
The shadows over the eyes and stuff like that.
Exactly. And so those also strobe back and forth. So not only is it strobing, but the different crosses are getting lit up super bright at different times, and it just looks so good. We are so happy with how that scene looks this year.
And that's permanent? That's for this year at least,
yeah. I mean, we'll tear it down at the end of Easter. But
yeah, but do you think that'll come back?
It will most certainly come back at every Easter show.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, we can't. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's too good not to come back.
Something you should know is while those strobes are going off in the show, as actors, I'm a Roman soldier during that.
Yeah.
I hang Jesus on the cross, so I'm right by the cross.
Yes.
So there's flashing. We hear the thunder and people screaming on the stage and stuff. It's an earthquake, right? We drop down we're cued. We drop down to the ground and we start yelling, "Get to the beach!" We start acting like it's a war scene, and we're tapping the stage machine gun sounds and stuff.
Oh, that's so funny.
Until it kind of settles out, and then we take them off the crosses and stuff.
That's
it's just
so funny.
It's so fun for a couple minutes there,
and that's so fun because I would never. And nobody in the audience would ever know what actually. I'm sure stuff like that happens all the time throughout the show with people who don't have mics on. They just kind of can do whatever they want.
It's fun not having many lines because you get to just say whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm walking through the marketplace talking to people and I say funny things and it's fun.
No, that sounds cool. But so yeah, the lighting the lightning is just
so good.
It's chef's kiss this year. Very very pleased with how that all turned out. So props to Ryan and the crew for getting all those set up, and it looks really really good.
Yeah, it does. Props to you and to everyone involved. That's a lot
I'm
of work to
happy.
make it this way. So, yes, back to I brought it up a little bit ago, but the special effects. I wanted to talk a lot about the fog. I really wanted to talk about the fog rather.
So this is effect number 2 we're talking about.
Yes.
Talked about the strobes. Now let's go to the fog.
Yeah. So there's a lot of fog this year. A lot of scenes that use fog. The heaven scene. On the cross. There's on the mountain and stuff.
I think that's it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's not that much fog this year.
Yeah. But like when we use it, we use it.
Yeah, we use a lot. Maybe that's what I'm. My mind's at.
So we use fog during the crucifixion scene. When Pilate says, "Let him be crucified," I turn the fog up.
Oh, okay.
And then it takes like a couple minutes to get through the tube.
Yeah.
To over top of the mountain.
Because it's run through insulated piping all throughout the stage, right? And it's all coming from a back projection.
So we brought a new hazer or a new fogger in for this show. So we have our typical fog system is permanently installed. It's a G300 piped again under the stage, and there's 3 floor pockets on the stage that come up, and it just billows out. It's low fog. And then we brought in another low fogger from Spirit, put it in the projection room, piped it down out the projection screen and onto the mountain. Yeah. Again, similar tube.
So you get that rolling down effect.
So you get that rolling down
different
from
levels.
Exactly. So I cue that when Pilate says, "Let him be crucified." Takes a while to get through the pipe because it's it's not as powerful as the G300 is. And then, that fog's up there for the crucifixion scene. And like when you guys put the crosses up, like it kind of like waves like the fog upwards. And then like we kind of like light you guys in red. So not only do your suits like light up.
Yeah, because the Roman soldiers are in golden red.
Yeah, golden red. And it just looks so good with just some red overhead.
Yeah.
But it like makes the fog look very eerie and everything.
That's amazing.
So the fog's kind of done. And then I turn it off after the storm. And then it kind of settles.
And then
down.
it comes back on for the heaven scene.
And it comes back on for the heaven scene. Yep. So the heaven scene, we use the fogger on the mountain, and then we use the single G300.
Right.
That G300 pumps fog so good. We gassed the front rows tonight, which we try not to do. We actually had people leave today because it was it just got a little out of control.
I know. Well, part of that is probably like they're trying to beat the traffic out because it's insane. The parking lot's insane. But
she had her face over her mouth and she was like coughing and trying to wave it out front.
I know some people leave for that, but they're it's a mix.
It definitely is a mix. But
anyways, that is something you really have to think about with this low rolling fog. Is like
you got to think about the draft.
If you have an elevated stage,
temperature.
Yeah, body temperature changes a room. Yes. So every audience, like the fog's gonna act differently.
And like spotlights, if we're spotting somebody during that cue with that low fog, when you'll see it roll flat against the stage, and then when it gets near that spot, it'll just travel up towards it because it's just a little bit hotter.
Right.
So
it's pretty.
And the reason why we had it like going down and gassing the front rows tonight was because we've encountered this a couple nights now. There's some draft coming in from behind stage. I think the baptistry doors are open or something.
They are,
and it's pulling a draft in and just pushing all that downstage, which is actually why it's doing that. So we're gonna look into it a little more this weekend and see
maybe
if
we could close those doors or something.
Close the doors or do something. I'm not exactly sure, but when you're dealing with low fog, sometimes it's really difficult. I did lighting for Cinderella this year for a musical, for a high school musical.
Yeah.
And we wanted to, like, whenever Cinderella would do her transition, she'd spin around and the dress would fall down and she'd have the blue dress underneath or whatever.
Sweet.
But, like, if she did it at the wrong time versus when I fired the fog and she started spinning or if she stepped forward too fast with her dress, the fog actually wouldn't come out of the tube because she'd step forward right in front of the tube, and that gust, when I turn it on, it would keep it in the tube until like she stopped, and that gust, like the low fog is so fine.
Wow. Yeah.
Any kind of movement will make it just completely go away.
Right.
Or go straight up or push it, and then it'll create like a wall of fog. So yeah, you definitely have to be smart with how you deploy low fog and atmospheric effects like that, because they can be difficult sometimes.
I'm going to throw like a controversial statement out there.
Yeah.
Fog is the most scientific thing in production.
I would have no idea. I would have no idea. I can't.
Like, you have to think about temperature. You have to think about the draft in the room. Like, you're dealing with like so many variables that are outside of the production.
Variables.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
So it's like it takes some science in some ways to figure it out. Like, you're applying real life science to it.
Yeah, it's definitely the least controllable effect you have.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many different variables.
I can't imagine doing it outside on like a windy day. I mean,
you can't.
Yeah.
We did low fog one time for a Halloween party thing that somebody wanted low fog for, so they rented it from us, and it did not work
at
all.
Blew away.
So yeah.
Did you even see it? Or
no, like it just instant. Like you saw it come out, and then it just blew away. Right. It wasn't. They wanted it like low fog, like through the grass, like to just.
It's
be
a
foggy,
great idea,
and it just didn't. It wasn't. Nope. We just took it back. We're like, yeah, it's not working. So yeah.
Wow. Well, that is. It is a difficult thing. I know every show you have a different amount on stage. Sometimes it's like billowing in a big cloud, that especially when I'm on the mountain with Jesus, like crucifying him.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's up to my waist, sometimes it's at my ankles, you know. Like you just don't know where it'll be at.
It just all depends.
Yeah.
Like every show is different. It just does something different every night.
And when we're storming the beaches, we're like vaping that stuff. I mean, it's like there's a lot on the ground. It's you have to kind of hold your mouth over your hand over your mouth.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Yeah, but it's a cool effect.
It is. It looks
the show better. So.
Yeah, another effect that I personally love, mainly because it smells good, the fire. And Quinn, you can talk about this one because you actually are holding the
I'm
fire.
A torch guy.
Oh, yeah.
So we have 4 torch guys. We have, it's like a collapsible metal torch that it has kind of a metal covering that pulls down, and it has a flap that kind of pushes out of the way on like a spring. So whenever you let go, you can hold that down and light your torch. Whenever you let go, it snaps up back into place. The lid closes because of the spring, and it just kills the fire off. It's a really cool contraption. Really nice for production stuff. But they put 4 butane rocks, like the rocks of butane.
And like charcoal.
Yeah, and it just like burns, and it catches quick.
That's why it smells so good.
Yeah, it's really cool. Some guys hold it just straight up, and the fire doesn't get to work down to the other rocks, so they have a really tiny flame. But I like to hold it upside down for a couple minutes, which is dangerous to say the least.
Probably.
But like I hold it upside down so it feeds up to the other rocks,
and then all
that way the bottom one's feeding the other ones, and it just keeps growing by the time we're out there. You know, and I have a real nice like girthy flame.
Oh yeah. I'll have to pay attention. I don't think I noticed that.
Yeah, but it is a very cool effect. It's a very dangerous effect.
Yeah.
You have a live flame in a building of like padded seats, carpet, live animals. Like there's a lot of things that could catch on fire, and you don't want any of them to, especially yourself.
Yeah. No, that would be very bad.
And for this, it would be. For this like specific instance, the 12 disciples, we approach Jesus in the garden, and we as soldiers push all of the disciples back.
Yeah.
And these guys don't hold back. They're like, some of them are like football players. Like they're really trying to beat us, which it's like, first of all, cool down, we're acting, bro. But second of all, like I have a live flame in my hand.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to push me and I have one hand, like, you know, I just like threaten them with the torch, and I'm like, get back.
I will burn your face off.
Yeah. So It is.
The Roman soldiers go so hard in the
Oh
show.
my
Like
gosh.
every year, they're so aggressive, and
It's
I love it.
fun.
I love it. Like legitimately, like you guys are like whipping Jesus and whipping the people on the crosses and like kicking people and throwing people, and it's like
It's great.
it's real.
Yeah.
Like
I
you-
mean,
you're-
yeah. I mean, they're coming through the aisles, so people are face to face with Jesus, all bloody,
Mhm.
getting beaten,
Yeah.
like actively being beaten.
Yeah, and like that is not hitting him softly.
No,
Like,
he has a real whip.
by
and he's
any means.
actually hitting.
Like
him.
he's actually hitting Brad on the back.
Yes. Brad is a
just-
Jesus
oh,
actor.
Yeah, just over and over.
Yes.
Like he just takes it.
yeah. And
It's so incredible.
it
Like it looks so real, and it gets you so emotional watching it because
Yeah.
like it is so real.
right.
Like we don't hold anything back.
right. They abuse both the thieves and Jesus.
Yeah.
Like there's no mercy, which gives a really like impactful part to the story, you know?
it does.
But it's heartbreaking to do sometimes because when you think about it, like especially as a soldier,
Yeah,
you see Jesus laying there as we're like literally nailing his hands to the cross.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? We have a hammer and this metal plate that makes like it fills the
dude,
room.
it is so loud.
It's so loud and it's not mic'd at all or anything.
No,
it's just
nothing.
a metal plate and a hammer and we just bang, bang, and you just feel it in your heart, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And to actively hang Jesus on the cross, it's like it's heartbreaking,
Yeah.
but it's really eye-opening, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wow, this really could have been me if I was born in this day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like no one is free from that guilt. No one is like, we all have a hand in Jesus being hung on the cross and stuff. But
Yeah.
that's a story for another day. I'm preaching now. But
Come on.
but it's a really, really cool show. There's a lot that goes into it. A lot of lighting cues, a lot of sound cues.
109.1 to be exact.
109.1.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a radio station.
Probably is.
Wow, that is a lot of cues.
Yeah, every show it does. So the show this year is very short, very short.
Yeah,
And
we rush it too.
yeah,
I
and
think we're excited.
It's still 109 cues. Just about every show we do is just about 110, 120 cues.
Yeah, right. Wow,
Doesn't matter how long it is. It's unbelievable.
wow. So is that includes spotting or is that like just lighting?
That's just
different
lighting.
things?
That's just lighting cues.
Wow.
So
I'm curious.
from Q
to-
1.1 when the curtain opens and Pastor Shane walks away to 109.1 where is the post show cue. So that's lights come back up after the final blackout.
Wow, that is a lot. That's
Mhm.
a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know Alex's count, the sound guy. I'm just like, because he has a lot of on and off. Like, I have a one-liner when I'm the groom, and I say just a quick little sentence, and I'm muted by the time I get out of the light. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
So
so
I
I'm-
don't actually think Alex runs scenes on the D Live. I think he's manually unmuting and muting people as they come
Wow.
on stage.
so is he just watching them and like he
Basically.
just knows who's
Mhm.
coming?
Follows along with the script.
Wow.
Has things marked. I think that's how he's doing it. But then Alex is not only is he doing that, but he's also firing all the underscores
Yeah.
and stuff.
You guys are machines. I mean,
It's impressive.
it is. It's a lot that goes into it, and to remember all those things, like
Yep.
in a week's time. I mean, you started he started on Monday.
Yeah, he starts a lot earlier, but he doesn't need to. He actually doesn't do anything because Pastor Dan, all he does is stop and start the tracks. But because you guys don't do a full performance, you guys stop and start. He actually has no feel for what the timing is like.
Right.
So it really is Monday, start of Tech Week. He actually gets to see the show full run through.
Yeah.
Like here, let's hit stuff. And in 4 days, we figure out all of our timing. We fix everything, and by Friday, it's go time for the show.
It's insane.
And it has to be perfect.
That's just like, I mean, that's a fast track to get it perfected. I mean, it's
Yeah.
perfected. Like
Oh yeah,
there's things that go wrong with every time, but like there's
Yeah.
nothing notable, nothing like show stopping. It's
Nope.
all
Never.
We just improv it and get through it, and it works out every time.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
Glory to God for that. But
Yeah.
also, it's like, wow, there's a lot of hands that go into it to make it
A lot.
smooth like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But yeah, speaking of things going wrong, let's talk a little bit about like mishaps that happen.
Yeah. How about the drum line?
I can't say the drum line is a mishap because it's consistently bad. No,
it is true.
I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm kidding. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it's just.
It is
what it is. It is what it is. I can't say it's like a mistake.
Yeah. So there's for context.
Yeah.
No spoilers, but the very first scene, there's a drum line.
No spoilers, but here's what happens.
Yeah. So give me a spoiler without context. So we have like a drum line of 12 to 15 people, somewhere in that. And I'd say 80% of them haven't played drums in years, if ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is hard because these people have never used in-ears. They've never played with others in a drum line. And not only that, but we separated the line. There's a big gap between half of the line and the other half. And when you have in-ears, that shouldn't matter as much. But for us, somehow it does. And it's just some beats are off and it's a little muddy and stuff. But the past two shows with audiences haven't been
bad.
Yeah. During Tech Week, it was scary. It was like, are we going to have to cut this? Like,
so it's like during Tech Week, it sounded like you gave 15 like 8-year-olds like buckets.
Yeah. Like,
and just
elementary.
Put them like all next to each other and just said, all right, hit it.
Yeah. Elementary concert band.
And like, it was like every night, like Ryan and I would look at each other and be like, oh my goodness, like, what is happening?
Yeah, what is happening?
But then the first night, it sounded like a drum line.
Right.
I was impressed.
Yeah, and we would not be able to compete, but we play music now, which is good.
Yes.
It's good to know.
It is nice to play music.
And that, I think that's all we have with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
we're grinding it out, and we're playing the music and stuff like that. And I think the biggest note on that is with the in-ears. Just like there's people that they're saying they're having issues with the in-ears. I think they're either not turning them on or the costumes are pulling the headphone out of the slot.
Yeah.
It's one of those two things because like I'm getting them fine every time.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
it's definitely user error.
Yeah,
for sure.
100%. And then there's people that are like, oh, I don't need in-ears. Like they're confident they don't need them. And those are the people I'm in with the most. I'm like, yeah, you need them the most.
You need them the most. Like, yes. Please.
So, but yeah, it's been an interesting. It's not quite your typical worship team setup.
No, definitely not. It's unique, but it's not bad. And it's getting better, which is good.
But mishaps. Sorry, I took a little train to the side there.
Mishaps. So, I think we touched on this briefly in another episode, but like mishaps and how do they affect cast versus tech? Because you're in the show, and I'm running tech,
right?
Like I'm sure there are mishaps that happen for you guys that I don't know. Like you wore your Roman sandal shoes, in the wrong scene on accident.
Yes, so they're like, I mean, I wear the same sandals the whole show, but the Roman guards have these shin guards that kind of add on to the sandal and make it like a full leg.
Yeah.
So I'm dancing to Ain't No Grave, celebrating Jesus' resurrection, still as the soldier that killed him. So it was,
but like I would never notice that.
Right. And I'm sure the whole crowd didn't. Maybe one or two people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, there you got the. But, you know, it's fine.
Yeah. And then what mishaps? I mean, we had a couple mishaps on like spots. Like, you know, spot will come up late or spot will come up, but they're not nowhere close to the actual person.
Yeah.
And like you'll see the spot like moving all around. I was like, oh no.
That's Robert for sure.
It was. Yeah, it was. But
and audio. I noticed. So in Friends and Family, I had my torch. We were in the garden, and when Peter cuts off the servant's ear, there's this little rumble, like boom, just to make a little bit to the scene.
mm-hmm.
So Jesus says a line, then Octavius says a line, then Jesus says another line. But right after Octavius said it, they played the rumble, and then it like cut off quick, and then he said the line, and then they played it again. And it was like, I caught that. It was a minor thing that probably no one caught, but like, it was funny.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't even catch it. I don't even think I've heard that rumble. So
Yeah.
I'm so focused on.
Yeah.
Because like the whole time that we're going through the show, I'm always like flipping forward pages and preparing myself for what spot cues I need to call out, and like just mentally getting myself in the next scene. But like the biggest mishap that I noticed for just so far this first weekend of shows was yesterday, Friends and Family.
Yeah.
Jesus.
What happened to Jesus?
So you know the story of Jesus, right? He died on the cross.
Of course.
He rose 3 days later.
I've been acting it for a couple weeks now.
Jesus decided to come back a little early. He rose 2.5 days after he died. He came out almost an entire verse early on Ain't No Grave. And it was so bad.
Oh, wow. Yo, don't die, man. It's fine. Ain't no grave, ain't no grave. Yo, he's falling apart right now.
Oh, my lands, I almost just died. I think I might have actually. No. So Jesus walks out of the tomb. Veronica is singing the song Ain't No Grave.
Killer
By
voice.
the way, that song, that whole scene is unbelievable.
So good. This is when Jesus comes out of the grave. He ascends. We're dancing in like a circle, and it's like people are moving. The lights are going.
It is like a Nashville-style song. She's singing mean. She's getting into it. It is so good. But yeah, Jesus comes out of the tomb on the words, and he rose up like a lion. And he pops out of the tomb. We have a 2K Parnell hung in the tomb. So just one of the brightest lights you'll ever see. Just blowing him up, like from the back, like just backlight. It looks epic. He walks out in all of this glory. The light is the brightest thing on stage. He just walks out right in front of it.
Wow.
And we spotlight him, and it looks epic. The whole crowd just goes nuts.
Wow.
But so that's what happened tonight. Last night, Veronica was still singing softly because she's singing softly, and then she jumps the octave and starts screaming.
Right. And then the rest
he
of the
rose
song, she's
up
going
like a
off.
lion.
Yep.
And he came out like a verse early.
so
Veronica's
he
still
was just
singing
out there.
softly. He walks out. There was no light behind him, no spotlight. And he just like stands out there. We're like, all right.
So did you hit the
Spotlight.
light?
No, I mean, I did hit the light just because it was Friends and Family, so technically it's still a dress rehearsal, so I wanted to follow our time. If he did that during any other performance and I saw him coming out, I would just hit the light, so it's still, there was some sort of effect.
Smart.
But like that night and in nights prior, we've seen him poke his head around to like look to see if it's ready, and we've told him, Jesus, you can't do that. Jesus did not peek out the grave to see if it's time to come out yet. So like I didn't, in the heat of the moment, I was like, did I just see him peek, or is he walking out? And before my brain could like figure out why in the world Jesus is like peeking around so early, he was already walking out. I'm like, I've missed the spot cue at this point in time, or the lighting cue. So I was just like, all right, Robert, just pick him up and do your thing, and then we'll practice this tomorrow night, because we added some new spot cues last minute to that scene.
So they're spotting him as he ascends?
No, we don't spot him as he ascends. So he backs into his spot on the X where we hook him up to the cables, and then we fade off him, and then he just ascends. But when he ascends, all the Macs are kind of like moving around, washing the bowl and on stage, and all the Macs stop what they're doing when he ascends, and they follow him up. And then Jesus gets to the top, like very top up by the catwalk, and all of the Macs are pointing like at each other, making this like rift-looking thing with all these beams and haze up there, and Jesus is in the center of it. You can't see his face, but all you can see is like the silhouette of his body as he's like all drawn out, like lifting up, and it just looks so good. And then the Macs snap back down, and then we go into the glorious.
Yeah, we do this marching thing as a dance.
And then it just drives.
And then it goes.
It's awesome. That song is so good. You guys, for real, like go check out the
Even
show.
if you don't watch out the whole show, just
watch this.
Scroll to Ain't No Grave.
Ain't No Grave. Yeah,
it's right after. What is it? Right after they take Jesus off the cross.
Yeah, it's right after the crucifixion.
Yep.
So there's probably like they do that show with they do that scene with what 20-30 minutes left in the show maybe.
Yeah.
So if you go to like 20-30 minutes before the ending, you'll get to about that scene.
Yeah, and it is
it's so good. It's
and
so
you'll
good.
catch that angel too over the tomb.
Yes,
and that's a good,
definitely
good scene to see.
probably my favorite scene. Definitely my favorite song. Second favorite song would probably be when Jesus and Ephraim are singing in the garden.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I like that one too. It's
That
very
one's
powerful.
really, really good.
Yeah.
I think those are my top two. What are your favorite two songs?
Well, Ain't No Grave is definitely top, not to copy.
Has to be.
Because I'm in the midst of it, I'm right next to Pontius Pilate as he's speaking.
Oh,
I love the it's a song that's like the dialogue that he had with the people.
Yes.
Like I release one prisoner every year. Who should I release? And they're like, Barabbas, release to us, Barabbas.
Yep.
And they're like, so what should I do with your king? Crucify him. And they're in the crowds and they're screaming, and it's just.
That's one thing I wanted to touch on too. Is like, this show is so intense and like immersive. Like we did an unbelievable job this year. This show feels so immersive.
Yeah.
So we gelled the house lights red. So during that scene,
I didn't even
we
know
light the house up red.
Wow.
And it almost makes you feel uncomfortable when you're sitting there.
Yeah.
And like all the actors are running up and down the aisles like screaming bloody murder.
Yeah.
Like, crucify him, he's a liar. Like,
and you know what?
Like, dude, like even talking about it, like like
so
they
powerful.
are actually like they are screaming at you. Like they will look at you and scream at you about like things, and then they'll scream at Pilate, they'll scream at Jesus, and like it's so like emotion evoking.
Yeah.
That whole scene.
It's crazy. And I think that was Pastor Dan's vision with everything, where we're in the aisles so much. And I think it's because he wants you to feel like you're in it, like you are one of the people shouting, like you are one of the people. For Ain't No Grave, we walk down the entire aisle with our hands bonded, like we're in chains and stuff. And at one point, when it goes, we do this circle and we look at them as we're like showing our chains to them, and it's like we're squatting, so it's like we're sitting next to them, basically telling them, you know, this is you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's artistic in a lot of ways.
It really is.
It just draws you to conviction. I mean, it's so good.
It's just the whole show is fantastically done this year. Like probably one of my favorite shows that I've ever been a part of. It's
100%.
really good.
Yeah. I'm thankful to be in the cast. Just it's been a blast. So there's so much to talk about here and so much to debrief.
And I'm sure we could talk for probably so much longer. If you guys have any questions about the show, about anything we did, like please DM us, right?
Yeah.
Again, we're on Instagram at Worship Production Podcast.
Right.
Like hit us up, ask questions. We want to hear. We want to answer you guys' questions. We want to give you more
100%.
insight. If, like literally anything, like just let us know.
And one more thing, if you have any questions, DM us.
Wait, guys.
Yeah, seriously, we are looking forward to doing listener question,
a Q&A episode, which is in the making. We're filling up, getting some questions,
getting a queue, and the more the merrier. We want some real things that are just like, oh, that's thought provoking. Yeah. So that we can learn, you can learn, we can all grow together. Yeah. So, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in again.
Check it out on CLA. What is it? CLA.com or ChristianLifeAssembly.com?
I think it's CLACamphill.com.
CLACamphill.com.
So, yeah.
Find What Love Is This? It's
the
Easter drama. Yeah. And just check it out. It's gonna be. It's mind blowing. Some of the things we're doing. So, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Catch you in the next one.